Hey lighting fanatics, today I have another lighting sighting video for you guys. This is the 6th installment of the series. Today we are going to be taking a look at the lighting in an antique store called Florida's Antique Store in Inverness, Florida. This establishment is actually brand new. It just opened a few months ago, so I decided to check it out earlier today and see if there was any cool lighting stuff there. And I thought the lighting in use at the store was interesting enough to show here. I do of course have some video footage that I will be showing shortly, but before that I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the history of the building for context. I'll put up a timestamp in case you want to skip over that and just get to the part where I actually show the lighting. So the building that this store recently moved into is actually part of a strip mall, and the building that the antique store now occupies used to be a Bealls Outlet until about 4 or 5 years ago. So that's what the building used to be, and you'll see that the antique store hasn't completely renovated the space yet, so it still has the same lighting setup from when Bealls occupied the building. There is also an old Publix right beside this location, and it is still vacant at this point in time. So there's a little bit of context for this store and why the inside of it looks like it does. Now, on with the footage. Alright, well, as you can tell, I have gone ahead and muted all of this footage because they did have some music playing in the background, and I don't know if it was copyrighted or not, so we're just not going to be including any of the original audio here. But we will still have the voiceover, obviously, so at least there's that. Alright, well, you probably saw all those Troffers there in that first clip. Those things pretty much lit the entire store. There's one right there. And then there's also these sort of edge fixtures, which are like strip lights with reflectors on one side of them. And those things are there because when this was a Bealls store originally, I'm sure they would have put clothes on racks and whatnot all along the walls on the outer edge of the store. So those are there pretty much to light that clothes that used to be there. But of course, now that this is an antique store, those don't really serve much of a purpose anymore since most of the items in the store are out on the main floor. You can really see how those wall washing fixtures light up the wall pretty good without lighting up the rest of the ceiling there thanks to the reflector. I'm sure they'd perform even better if they had brand new lamps in them. Now we're getting towards the front of the store here. That spot where I started was actually the very back of the store. Here you can see all those troffers again. They're not all in perfect working order. In fact, there are quite a few burned out lamps in this place. But being vacant for several years, I would definitely expect that. There you can see that fixture has a few burned out lamps. That one, they're actually all working. Now, one thing you'll probably notice while looking at this footage is that there are both 3 lamp and 4 lamp troffers in this store, and they're all kind of randomly dispersed all throughout. And there's no real rhyme or reason as to which type is in a particular location. And I really have no idea why this is. Definitely doesn't really make much sense to me as to why there'd be 2 different types of troffers in this store. I mean, I suppose some of them could have been added later, or maybe some of them were even replacements for when part of the one type got damaged for whatever reason. I really have no clue, but I just find it very odd and strange that there are both 3-lamp and 4-lamp Troffers in this store. This clip is pretty short, so I'm going to be looping it a few times here, but this was just some kind of back storage or utility room. You can see they've got some F32T8s back here, so that's pretty cool. Now we're making our way over to the other side of the store. That side that we were on in the very beginning was the right side of the store, and now we're over on the left side of the store. There's pretty much the same lighting setup over here. I mean, we got the Troffers on the ceiling, and then we also have those wall washing strip light sort of fixtures there on the edge of the ceiling. As you've probably been able to tell by now, this is all electronic F32T8 equipment here, so not necessarily the most exciting thing, but still notable in this day and age when all of this sort of stuff is being taken over by LED and things like that. And I'm sure after a few years here, you'll hardly ever see installations like this anymore. Making a slight detour here, I spotted this interesting lamp for sale that had a silicone tip bulb inside of it that almost had an interesting satin gold finish to it. Very cool. And then they also had some strip lights behind a sort of wall partition there. There's one of the 2 doors leading into the building, but you weren't allowed to use that one. You had to use the front one. Now we're making our way back toward the front of the store. Same deal with the Troffers as with the rest of the building. And then coming up is something interesting. A diffuserless Troffer. I wonder what happened to it, if the diffuser fell out or if they removed it for some reason. You can clearly see the 4 F32T8 lamps. Now we're making our way near the front door here where they had some display cases, but unfortunately the display cases just had integrated LED lighting in them, so nothing special there. There was also a Christmas tree, but unfortunately it had LED lights on it. And then here's one last look at the back end of the store. Here's a close-up of one of the 4-lamp Troffers, and then a 3-lamp Troffer right beside it. But we're not quite done here. It's time to go outside and take a look at something cool. Mercury vapor recess lights. They had these all over in the canopy here above the walkway in front of the strip mall. You can tell that one's had some B issues in the past. There's a little bit of a hive there on the bulb. Here's one that's still barely on. That bulb is really greened out. It needs to be replaced. A lot of these are missing bulbs like that one. And then there's one with a BT-shaped bulb. Very cool to see. These ones were mounted a little bit higher up, right in front of the door into the antique store, and they were all working for the most part. And here we're looking into the store through the window. One thing you'll probably notice while looking at these recessed lights is that they have spray paint all over them. I mean, even the tips of the bulbs have paint on them. So I guess they were just mindlessly spraying that paint all over the place when they were last painting the ceiling here. That was kind of a funky, narrow corner there, and now we're on the side of the store with more recessed lights, of course. Unfortunately, most of these do not work, and the ones that do are extremely greened out. These could really do with some proper maintenance. And judging by the size of the bulbs, I'd imagine these are 100-watt fixtures. Now we're over by that other entrance that I showed earlier, with the higher ceiling once again, and both fixtures over here are in working order, so I guess the ones near the doors were better maintained than the other ones. And there's the inside again. Alright, well I hope you enjoyed looking at this footage of the lighting in this antique store, which overtook an old vacant Bealls Outlet store in a strip mall. Well, if you enjoyed what you saw, be sure to leave a like down below, feel free to leave a comment, and if you want to see more cool lighting videos in the future, be sure to subscribe. See you next time.